everybody. Welcome to Build Brunch, the daily morning show where we talk about the latest topics in pop culture. I'm Brittany Jones Cooper.
I'm Shannon Coffey.
I'm Allie Colbert.
I'm Lucas Tim. Hi, everyone.
Let's start with our morning pop. The sequel to Maleficent will now head to theaters 7 months earlier than scheduled. Hello Kitty is making her Hollywood debut with a new film in the works, and the first trailer for Netflix Someone Great, starring Gina Rodriguez, teases a unique spin on the rom-com. Now let's serve you our favorite stories of the day.
Now for our first course. Amy Poehler is officially a director. Her new film, Wine Country, is loosely based on a girls' trip that she took with her SNL co-stars and is set to premiere on Netflix May 10th. In a People magazine exclusive, Poehler says the movie aims to show what deep and lasting female friendships look like. Guys, I'm so excited for this movie. One, I'm so excited for Amy Poehler because, you know, she's directed episodes of Parks and Recreation. She's directed other episodes of TV. So I'm really excited to see a feature film. Plus, like, the reuniting of, like, the Avengers of SNL women. Tina Fey, Anna Gasteyer, Rachel Dratch, Maya Rudolph. Like, the best of the best are going to be in this film.
Paula Pell.
Drinking wine.
I know.
I know.
What's better than that?
The only woman we're missing is Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, but she's not part of that core group.
I know, but I just think of Bridesmaids, and I think of her and Maya Rudolph, but it is a different group.
Yeah, these girls were like slightly before her, and I think like paved the way in a lot of ways. So they definitely have worked with her a lot. It would, maybe she'll be in the movie. We don't know.
I'm so excited to see it. I feel like we haven't had a strong, like, I don't know. Honestly, the last time I remember these women releasing a movie that I actually laughed at was Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
And they tried with like Ghostbusters and some other stuff with like those SNL women, but it didn't hit the same way. So I hope this does it.
And this movie, like Bridesmaids, is created by SNL women. Emily Spivey, and she's in it, and also was a writer on SNL and co-wrote this movie. And of course, Amy Poehler is directing it. So I always love when the SNL women actually create the films that they star in.
And I love, like, obviously this is gonna be funny and they're gonna lead into that, but it also talks about how it will lead into some more like serious kind of darker themes as well, which I love seeing them do because all of them, I think in other projects they've chosen have done like slightly more dramatic or things that you wouldn't expect from them as much. So I think this is gonna be a fun ride, but I think we're also gonna get to see them act and explore kind of different roles, which I love seeing. Like Maya Rudolph did that show with Fred Armisen and it was funny, but it was like kind of dark.
Oh, forever.
And I'm like into that kind of humor.
Which is not really that surprising when you think about who Maya Rudolph is married to.
Right.
Paul Thomas Anderson, who directs some of like the darkest, creepiest films like The Master and what else was he doing with Joaquin Phoenix? Yeah. But just like really creepy stuff and there's darkness within her.
Yeah. Totally.
And also love the whole girls trip thing or like, I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, but those female dynamics are so important in my life. My mom is one of 13 and she grew up with 7 sisters. So I always grew up in these communities of really strong women and it's something that I've continued to do with friendships. And so I always love seeing those dynamics explored in movies because so often women are pinned against each other. And I feel like that's such a negative story and not what I've experienced. So I always love to see positive female stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I wish that there was just like a bar underneath to tell us what moments were actually from the real girls trip and what's like fictional. Because I feel like the things that are probably the funniest are probably the realest.
Oh, totally.
Right, but they'll like probably never tell us because they're too outrageous or embarrassing to one of them.
What was the movie that recently came out with Kate McKinnon like a year ago and like that guy dies and he washes up on shore?
Night?
Oh, Rough Night.
That was weirdly funny.
Was Alana Glazer in that?
And Zoe Kravitz?
Yes.
Well, the thing is, it came out right after Girls Trip came out, and Girls Trip is a masterpiece of a film. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is a masterpiece.
Very different films.
Very different films, but I think because Girls Trip was so good that it kind of trumped this other one, which was like different, but just because people are like, oh, it's a movie starring only women, they're the same. So,
honestly, like, I can't stress enough how, like, the funniest people I know in my life are women or people of color. Like, the least funny people I know are white men. It just always
I am the least funny person on this panel.
Just, like,
I'm gonna keep clapping.
Just like ensembles of men in comedies are just like never funny. It's just like dudes farting on each other and everyone's like, what? And like when you see women coming together to make a film, those are the funniest films.
I agree. Bad Moms, I watched yesterday.
Great
it was
film.
just on TV, and I was like, yo, that movie is so funny and underrated.
Yes, it's just the realest humor that people actually relate to and enjoy. Like, I'm so tired of, like, especially in stand-up, seeing, like, these white guys go on stage with this take of, like, my girlfriend's being annoying, and I'm like, dude, that's done.
Right.
Yeah, it's so
been done.
bad. It's sad that Bad Moms, not a lot of people have seen that film because once you see the title Bad Moms and it's like, Moms? What would a mom have to say? I just feel like you can hear
What would a mom have to
angry
say?
boys online are like, moms could never be funny. They just wipe butts. And you're like, oh, man.
No,
you
but
guys
for
suck.
real. And the whole
Yeah.
thing is like, no, moms are real people and they get
Yeah.
really drunk. And
And you know what? Moms are funny.
Moms
My
are
mom,
really
hilarious. My mom could do stand up with her friends, and not Mrs. Maisel stand up. I mean like hardcore,
Yeah.
like fuck you
roast
stand up,
people.
like roast people. Moms are so funny. The best moms are hysterical.
Moms
mom-
are hilarious.
Yeah. They have the best stories.
My mom makes me laugh more than anybody, but it's like not on purpose.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's just like her general, the way she walks through the world and also her commentary on things. Watching TV with my mom is my favorite pastime because her commentary is always spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just like make a book of all the
Oh
quotes.
my,
that
I
she says.
completely agree. I watched the TV show Girls with my mom, and my mom would just be like, so this is the story, there's just the girls, and they're talking to each other, and what, this is it? And I was just like, yeah, like, you just keep it real. Like, they have a fresh take, Mom.
I feel the same way about girls. I never got it.
That's where it's at. So, you know, speaking of women and women in our lives, do you have a work wife? If not, you may want to find one, according to authors Erica Cerullo and Claire Mazur. Their new book highlights the power of female friendships at work and how they can make the job both more fulfilling and successful.
You guys had work wives or work spouses?
Yes, and I have to give a shout out. My work wife, so when I worked at Imagine for 2 years, her name was Jamie Westendorp. So I was the second assistant, she was the first. So we spent like 10 to 12 hours a day together, really working very close together, like answering phones together, emails, everything. We would get in every day before everyone else. We would always talk. We have cried to each other. We have laughed to each other. By the time, at the end I was at Imagine, we could just look at each other like this and say 1,000 things. Sometimes our boss would be like, what'd you guys just say to each other? We'd be like, we know. She's helped me so much in my personal life, professional life. I love her. She'll always be my work
It's
wife.
such an important function. Like
Such
that
an important
person helps you
function.
survive. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in an assistant role. I had a work wife, but I was the second assistant. She was the first. It was a very similar dynamic.
Right.
And I don't think I could have survived those 2 years without her because she was not only like my support, but like was guiding me. And then she would like make me home cooked meals, like bring them to me, and I was eating
Wow,
like
that's a real wife.
Yeah.
I know she was, and she was like a throwback too. Like she really like loved all like the like old school wife sort of things. You know?
Jamie would give me like, when I would get
Like giving you foot massages when you gave
No, but she would like make me like home cooked meals and bring them into work because she knew that I was eating like McDonald's every night.
That's
you know?
so sweet.
my work wife would open up whenever I was sick. Would open up her like cabinet. We could never take sick days and just have like a CVS store of like healthy medicines that I
Yeah.
could take.
Yeah.
Take this, take that, take this, and I'm like, she just give me like, thanks, wife.
Basically, we're both people that need to be taken care
Yes.
of.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
be
we're
like
like
that.
these two drunks.
That's all I'm
man.
getting from this
We
situation.
just need work wives.
Well, I've had several jobs where I've been like one of the only woman in an office, or like there's one other woman, and like having that other like female presence, it's just like you need someone with like a nurturing energy to like be in your space that you're in every day. Like when I was working as like a writer at The Onion, those are all dudes, and there was like only one other woman there, and it was just like a mess. Like everyone needed our help to like take care of them all the time, and I was like, I need a wife. Like where's my work wife? Someone help me. Like it's just hard. Like you need that female energy to just support you, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, I hate when the workplace is unnecessarily competitive and like catty. And I'm not even just calling out like women on women relationships being catty for spots, but like when people unnecessarily are like, don't know that teamwork is a dream work, it's so frustrating.
Oh, it's the worst.
I hate it. It's such a bummer because then you go to work and you're dreading it because you're like, what are they gonna do today? Are they gonna like steal my idea and pretend it was theirs?
Right.
And then they're gonna like call out that the bathroom smells like toots, and they're gonna be like, well, who was it? And then look at you and you're gonna be like, wow, hostile work
It
environment.
sounds like you've had some really hostile
Yeah,
work
that sounds super
environments.
specific.
In the past, I've worked in really bad places. Downstairs, I feel like I have like a like work family. Good,
Yeah.
there's good vibes. Shout out to the Build Bodega. You know, Michael from Social. He really takes care of me. He's always got wet wipes for me.
Yeah, that's true. He gives me emergency.
Yeah, there's a whole bodega down there.
Yeah.
Family.
I didn't know
I
about
have to say, I did have a work husband in my last job, and we bonded because we were both put on this new team. That
Because
neither
you
of
got
us-
pregnant.
That I got pregnant.
Yeah.
That was a complicated time. We both got put on a team that we didn't want to be in, so it really was like survival, and we like glommed onto each other. We ate meals every day together. We were giving looks. We were texting. We went on an 8-day trip to Spain together because we were just like, we needed each other during this time in our lives. But it was like the only way I survived those 2 years. Last night we went and had drinks and like caught up. He's like still like somebody who's so important in my life.
A common enemy is very strong.
Yeah, that unites people. But what I like about this work-wife book is that it's like co-opting the term what's been around forever, like when men would have their secretaries, like, she's my wife, like she does everything for me. For this book, it's how women team up together and conquer the whole stereotype that women have to compete for the job, which we know still plagues our society, the way women view women ever seeking power. It's like, why does she deserve that, not me? It's like, no, join together, be a team. So I really like this idea of women having work wives as like more of a partnership.
And also like starting their own companies. And in this, the article about this book, they really pointed out we have all these male-led duos like Procter & Gamble and Ben & Jerry, and there's been very few like female duos that have led companies. And we're seeing that more and more, these two women included. And I thought that was a really important thing to point out.
And some you don't see, like, you know, Shonda Rhimes, the reason she's able to do everything is with Betsy Beers, who's her executive producer on all her shows. And someone like Shonda, who's such a creative genius, needs someone like Betsy to complement the other sides that kind of help round out her stories and make her such a successful showrunner and TV creator. So we don't always see the second half of the partnership, but they are out there.
Do you think that these work-spouse relationships should go outside of work, or do you think they're sort of...
That's an interesting, that reminds me of a lot of the friends I had in like middle school and high school who were like my school bus friends. They never got invited over to my house, but every day they waved to me goodbye as I went in. And there's just like a bunch of friends you have that are just like specific to
I'm laughing because that is so,
That's
like
so
specific to one realm. You're just like, that's Wesley, him and I see him on the bus every day, but don't you dare speak to me in the cafeteria. Like, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of these work relationships, they might be able to extend beyond, but there's something kind of sacred and nice about it not bleeding into your personal life and you having a safe space where I can come into work in the morning and I can bitch about my friends to you guys. And you guys are like, oh, that girl, she did that again, but I'm not worried about you guys sort of entering that
space.
Yeah, so that's why I keep you all at an arm's length.
That's why you never invite us to anything outside of work. Understood. Well, guys, there's an online rumor that Marvel Studios is looking to cast its first gay superhero, and fans are psyched. The film would be an adaptation of the Eternals, and if true, this will be the first time a gay superhero would appear in a Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Good job, Marvel.
Good job, Marvel.
And apparently this isn't how it was in like the original comic.
So these comics were made in the 70s, and it's about these basically part human, part immortal beings created by these divine gods, but no one actually in this group is gay. So this is actually Kevin Feige, who is the head of Marvel, being like, we need to make a gay character about time. Because Marvel Comics, I mean, from the X-Men to everything they do, has been far more progressive since its inception. Marvel film, owned by Disney, is not so much, which they, you know, got in trouble with Thor Ragnarok.
Tessa Thompson.
They took out her scene when she talks about her bisexuality. So this is something that I'm really happy that they're doing and making a conscious effort to cast any sort of gay man, despite any ethnicity or whatever.
Hot.
It's colorblind casting.
Colorblind casting, most likely, definitely have to be hot, but colorblind casting other than that.
Yeah, they did make a point to say it needs to like look like a superhero, so you got to be like a swole person.
Swole, but like any race though, but swole.
Yeah, I think it's cool that they're specifically looking for a gay actor to play this gay character, because we saw Darren Criss recently in December said that he's no longer gonna play gay characters as a straight person. He's like, I'm not gonna be stealing those roles anymore. And that's wild because every character that he's known for has been a gay character.
Right.
I thought he was gay until he said that.
Yeah, he's married. No, he's not.
I know, it's crazy.
And also, a gay character, he's gotten so much awards and recognition. I mean, like, he's the American Crime Story is maybe the role of his career for right now. So it's very bold of him, but right of him to say that.
Yeah.
Do we feel like this Eternals is a big enough movie, though? Like, I almost feel like they picked superheroes we didn't really know. I would rather it be something a little more, a bigger character.
Like who?
I don't know, like a Superman type of, you know what I mean? Like,
did we know I know Black Panther's a little more well known, but did we really know Black Panther's much? I know I'm not a comic.
I personally don't know any of them until they come out.
Okay.
So I kind of get what you're saying, but like hopefully with Marvel,
it's not like a very safe movie to do it with.
True, because it's not
still
like
progress, but
it's not the X-Men.
Oh, little baby steps. I'll take what I can get.
And also, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that just like I'm thinking about little kids watching superhero franchises and just kind of like the stigma associated with like superheroes and also being gay and how I hope that like little kids can see this movie and see maybe if as a gay person they can feel, oh, like I didn't realize that being interested in comics and superheroes is something that I could sort of like find a middle ground with my identity.
Totally.
So I think it's very important, and I'm so glad that they're doing it.
I agree. I actually just talked to this author and activist named Jacob Tobia, and he's a trans woman. He goes by the pronoun they, them. And in his book, though, they really talk about the gender kind of things that we all have and, you know, stereotypes of being too feminine or too masculine. And I think this will be a good job of showing that strength is something that's feminine and masculine, and it doesn't, you know, we have to stop putting things in weird boxes.
Right.
I would love for someone like Matt Bomer to get cast because, you know, rumor, I think he's actually said it publicly, is that he was supposed to be Superman, and when, you know, he's out and married and like, and that kind of...
He looks like Superman.
He looks like Superman, but they didn't cast him because he's an out gay man. So I would love to see someone who was denied something because of his sexuality now be cast as a superhero, rightfully so, because he is a great actor and also looks like a superhero.
Yeah.
So. But of course, there's plenty of great actors, but I'm just saying he's someone that would be cool.
I agree. That was a really good idea.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the Umbrella Academy yet?
No, I haven't.
It is really, it's like a really fun show. It's like all these, they're siblings through like all these kids were born on the same day, like miraculously. And they like all different types of kids, and they have a gay superhero in that. And I think it's really cool and like inclusive. I think it's a fun show that's nobody's talking about. And I'm like, hey guys, and Ellen Page is in it.
Love
I
Ellen
see it
Page.
on my Netflix queue.
Yeah.
It's on my list. For some reason, superheroes is not something that I'm like quick to go to.
I know. I have a hard time, but also I think you give good recommendations, so I'll give it
Yes.
give it an episode.
Me too.
All right, it's not perfect.
No, nothing.
As far as being inclusive.
Like, Shannon, this show isn't perfect.
Yeah, I was
Like,
saying
it's
it's not
horrible.
perfect, but as far as diversity and, you know, us all getting to be superheroes, I was like, I'm happy.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's talk about sex through memes. A new Mashable story details how Instagram thirst memes can help to open up a healthy dialogue about sex. Let's dive in. So this Mashable article is quite interesting, where basically just says teenagers sending not subtle memes at all, like speed hump me, helps open the dialogue about having
an
sex.
affection erection.
These memes look a little more shady and slimy than they do like kind of nice. Like I thought these would be sort of a little more subtle.
Totally,
They're
not
really
subtle at
vulgar and
all.
in your face. I think if someone tagged me in that I wasn't in a relationship with, I would think I would block them.
Yeah. I mean, that one is that Bill Nye? And
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for a
Yeah.
nude.
And a good
I'd be like, gross, no.
Yeah.
No thanks.
speed hump me.
I just feel like I get what they're saying to conscious about sex, but if you're not mature enough to just like talk to someone and develop a relationship with it, I don't think you should be having sex.
But yeah, here's the thing. I think
Right?
that because we kind of caught the tail end of this, we were lucky that we got out of middle school and high school without tons and tons of social media.
True.
And I think younger children now who are in middle school who grew up with these social platforms actually have no idea how to have an in-person conversation, and they're just constantly tagging each other in things and like texting each other photos of stuff, and like I think it's probably just a shit show middle school now.
Yeah, we used to just like pass notes back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
Talking about guys, and that was it. We never actually talked to the guys.
Passing notes.
Yeah, no.
Passing notes. What an historic
Passing
source
notes.
of communication.
Yeah, they're
does
still
not.
passing notes.
I don't know. Are they? Everyone do text on your computer?
I think it's like hieroglyphics at this point.
Yeah,
It's like
the
exchange.
Egyptian it's like pretty much you gotta know. I'm like, what the hell's this?
Just like walking past the person you're dating in the hallway and not talking to them.
Yes, remember that?
That
my
is
God.
just like fireworks.
So many relationships I would see, just people like, whoa, they just like looked at each other and walked on the hall.
And we're like, they're dating. They haven't spoken to each other in a year.
But apparently Gen Z teenagers are having less sex than Gen X. Because Gen X were like, I think we're like in the thick of it. We're the ones like you were talking, where they grew up when Facebook was huge, Instagram was coming out. But I think Gen Z maybe after them, maybe
So Gen Z's in middle school now?
middle school now, maybe they're trying, at least this Mashable article is saying is they're trying to have more deep emotional connection
Well,
with people.
Gen X is a bunch of whores.
It's my brother's generation, a bunch
They're
of sluts.
Everyone that just graduated like 8th grade literally fucked everyone.
Oh my God.
I know they
Yeah.
did. They all have fucking herpes.
They lost their, like, you know when you read Catcher in the Rye and you're like, the loss of innocence? I remember reading that in 8th grade, like, oh, it's good that I haven't done anything with anyone because
Yeah.
like, I have my innocence.
Yeah.
Right. Those sluts, when they read that book, they're like, what a nerd, you know? And that's how I used to talk to myself. I was like,
know,
oh,
I
it's
was
cool.
like-
It's cool you haven't kissed anyone yet. It's cool. It's
Sometimes
cool.
you talk and I get really sad.
It's because when
Cool.
This is the thing.
It's all good.
This is the thing.
It's all good. It's all
When
good.
we were
I'm
in
an
middle
adult.
school and high school, the possibilities of how to connect with people were limited. You had to go up to them at a party. You had to somehow find a way. And social media has given you all of those tools to connect with that guy who you don't have class with or the girl you don't have class with in like fucking 7th grade. Like, my friends and I would like see someone and we would just like, we'd go and we would like wait at the door and be like, they should be passing here in like an hour. Like that shit, you can't do that shit anymore.
I mean, we had IM, but like you only had IM at your home. So like when you saw each other in school, you had to talk to each other.
I'm trying to think in school it was difficult, but dances were like your opportunity to make a move. And you just like slide up in front of a guy and just like start grinding on him. And that was like, I like you, do you like me? No, okay. I'm gonna dance this way.
Grinding was huge.
Grinding was everything.
Bar mitzvah season when we started grinding.
Do you remember that? When like the one person asked one person to dance and they asked them, oh my God. And they would play all these,
Oh, we never did that. We would just go straight to that person.
You were like, we weren't doing that in
You're so bold. I'm shocked that you would just start rubbing on people.
Oh my God, Brittany?
I am bold. That's what
As a teenager?
Oh yeah, always.
Wow.
I always had like too much confidence.
I love that.
Yeah.
False confidence, but
No.
Risky.
I mean, I would just jump in there and be like, this is what I want.
Not false
That's why I said,
confidence.
like, sometimes they were like, they wouldn't dance back, and I'd be like, all right.
you'd be like running man attack. Like, yeah, I don't need you.
This was one of my favorite parts of Pen 15, which we all watched on Hulu, was like them reminding us of that AIM drop-down bar, and it's like, you hear that sound when the person leaves and signs off, and then you see the door shut, their away message, and like the feelings you would get. You would just be like, we talked on AIM for like hours, and it was just the dumbest shit.
I love that scene because she made an excuse. She's like, oh, like I bet he was busy, or like his mom called him to dinner, like he didn't just see me and decide he didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
Those were the days.
Now when you get left on red, you're just left on red. You know they don't want to talk to you. So sad. Well, now it's time for today's guest. Pastry chef Duff Goldman rose to fame with his cake decorating show, Ace of Cakes, but now you can catch him in the new Food Network series, Buddy vs. Duff. The show will see Duff face off in an epic baking battle against cake boss Buddy Valastro for the chance to be crowned the king of cake. Take a look.
It's the baking brawl to settle it all. Buddy Valastro, the cake boss,
People want to see who's the best.
will battle his rival, Duff Goldman, the ace of cakes.
I can't believe that's a cake.
I am twice the baker.
Duff has no idea who he's going against.
This is going to be a real competition.
Who's the undisputed king of cake? Series premiere, Buddy versus Duff, Sunday, March 10th at 9 on Food Network.
Yeah,
Because
do
I
it.
spread.
Woo! Welcome. We're so happy to have
I'm happy to be here. This is great.
you. That was a quick on. You're like, I'm just gonna take up this whole cast.
There you go.
All right. Well, this is so exciting. Tell us about the show.
So, I'm the cake guy. Buddy's a cake guy. Like, we both, two guys on TV that have been making cakes for a long time. We're both really good at what we do. We're very different people, and I think we have very different fans. We got just two big groups of, people that like us. And for years, people have been like, all right, who's better? Come on, who's better? Because it's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like this, we like people. We need to, put people in lists, or we need to, kind of organize those things in our own head. And so I think people are like, we need to see who's better. So we made a show where we would finally find out who's going to be better.
Yeah, I've been
It's me,
watching
by
you
the
guys.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been watching you guys tweet each other a lot of shade, and I feel like you are this isn't just a show. You're really that competitive between each other.
We really are. Yeah, I think that's would be really nice. I mean, there's a lot of shows. So Chopped, there's Iron Chef, there's Kids Baking Championship, where people are competing, putting their skills against each other, and that's cool, right? Because people are taking their skills and you're putting them next to each other, and you're seeing that. But here, it's not just our skills. It is a lot of emotion. This goes way deeper than just who's the better cake decorator.
And how long is the whole competition?
It's 6 weeks.
Wow.
So each episode is, the first half will be a baking challenge. So it's Buddy and I in a kitchen baking stuff, and no sous chefs, no help, just me and him. Baking, and then things get judged. Then we go and we have like a 14 to 18 hour cake build, where we have a day and a half basically to make a cake, and it has to be something amazing. Wow. And so so each episode is 2 rounds, 6 weeks. It's like a 12-round fight.
Wow, it's intense.
And it's like a fight.
Yeah, no. And on the show, you guys, like, there's so many like, various different creations you have to make, like a carnival treat to like even a dog pampering party you guys have to do. Like, that's like, what else? Like, is there crazy stuff you could think of that you guys had to do on the show?
Well, we had to make cars, but they had to be inside of a car museum in LA. This really cool place. We had to. One of them was a pie competition where we each had to make a pie. And pies are like really hard.
Right.
Pie, like a good pie. There's so much that goes into a good pie. It's not just like a brownie. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on. So these challenges were very sort of technically difficult. Which is good.
And the prize is to be crowned the king of cake. I don't know if that comes with a kingdom and a castle. Like, and I guess you get to wear a crown all the time. But what else do you get? Bragging rights?
That's it.
Which is
I mean, look, I honestly.
Which is all you really need.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, look. Like, a lot of these competitions, people compete for money, people compete for a show, people are competing for some kind of reward. And the reward here was just for the rest of our lives, we can look at each other and just be like, I'm better.
I'm better than you. Which is all anyone ever really wants.
That's all I
right?
need.
To look at you like, But so what is your winning strategy? Did you go into the show with like, this is how I'm going to do it? Or did that fall apart? Or did you stick to that strategy?
Well, you know what Mike Tyson said?
Oh God.
We don't actually.
He said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened. I mean, before we started filming this, I took 4 months off. I didn't film. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I had a staycation. I cried a lot, and I trained. I was in my house just baking every single day, just getting better and better and better.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great.
Sounds like the best kind of training I've ever heard of.
Totally, right? Yeah.
I would love that. Like Lucas shut away for a couple months, and you just roll out.
That was training for me. See ya, everyone. I'm gonna go. I mean, I wish I could bake. I watch you, and I'm like, I wish I could do that.
Oh man, I mean, if I could do it.
Did your wife enjoy your training because she just got to like kind of test out everything?
My wife was really happy about training. She was like, why don't you do another one of those shows? I want to do baking all that stuff.
So what is it like working with Buddy? Like, are there specific strengths you have and he has that like, okay, he's good at this, so I'm gonna have to play up this and.
I tell you, he's really fast. He owns big bakeries that make a lot of stuff.
Right.
A lot. Like, we were talking yesterday. He makes there's one cake he makes. He makes 10,000 of them in an hour.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. We make like 5 cakes a week. I was just like, wow. So I think his strength is just, he's going to have that peace of mind knowing that like he has enough time to accomplish what he needs to accomplish.
Yeah.
I don't move fast. You know what I mean? Like everybody in my shop went to art school. Except for, I went to culinary school, but everybody else went to art school. So the way that we approach building a cake or decorating a cake, just, the way we approach everything is like we have all the time in the world and we're going to make something that is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
And that's usually a great way to approach a lot of things, except for there's a clock on the wall, and when it hits that time, you got to be done.
Yeah. I've seen you on many seasons of Kids Baking Championship, which is one of my favorite shows in existence. And I have to say, I respect how you take the biggest bites out of those kids' food, and you just throw caution to the wind because they might make something nasty, but you respect them enough to take a big bite.
Well, I appreciate that. The thing is, I'm usually taking a big bite because I'm trying not to get it on my mustache.
Okay.
So I'm kidding.
Oh.
No,
I was like,
I don't be sure. Like, that would be a problem. Food would get in it.
It does, but we just fight about it.
And you mentioned culinary school, but you did study history and philosophy in college. So were you always wanting to be a baker? A part of you always wanted to bake? I mean, how did that come about?
Yeah, I mean the philosophy store wasn't hiring, so I had to.
Right, you're right.
Find a job.
I got that joke.
But no, I started cooking when I was 14. I was a graffiti artist, and I didn't have enough money to pay for spray paint, so I got a job at McDonald's flipping burgers. I can make 12 Big Macs in a minute.
Yeah.
Yum.
Super fast.
I think that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean it really is. Like 2 burgers at one time, you know? Like,
Buddy's like, I can make 20,000.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing. So that was like when I started cooking, and then when I was in undergrad, I got a job at a really nice restaurant in Baltimore, and I wanted to be a chef. Like I wanted to be behind the line, cooking, fire, knives. And the chef was like, "You don't know how to cook. You've only worked at McDonald's, so I'm going to teach you how to bake cornbread and biscuits." And I was like, "All right." So I did that, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Just baking is. I don't know, man. There was just something about it. I think it's the process. I think there's so much to baking that it's like with cooking, like I kind of, I know chefs are amazing, but like with cooking, it's like a stir fry, right? You heat up the pan, you put the stuff, you salt it, you eat it, it's good, put it on rice. With baking, I just feel like there's so much more, like it's such a longer process. So you have more time to think about it. And as a philosophy major, I think about everything. Like as a neurotic Jew, I think about everything way too much, And so I think that like with baking, there's just there's just like an enjoyable sort of length to it.
Yeah.
And
we mentioned your wife. You got married in January.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She's right back there.
Hi.
There she is.
I heard you had 5 cakes at your wedding.
I had 3 cakes.
3 cakes?
I had 3 cakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you even approach your own cakes? Because I'm sure that was a lot of pressure.
Well, we had, so my wife is very beautiful and she's just wonderful and sweet. And so I wanted to make her like a really beautiful white traditional wedding cake. I thought that'd be really fun. And so we made this cake that was based on her dress, and it was really great. But we also are obsessed with animals. We love animals. We had a petting zoo at the wedding.
That's awesome.
It was great. But we have fish at home. We have a lot of fish, and so we're kind of obsessed with fish. And I liken my wife to a leafy sea dragon.
Okay.
You know what those are?
They're really beautiful, yeah.
They're really beautiful, yeah. And because she's just like really beautiful and very gentle and very deliberate and kind. And I don't know, she's just great. And so I made a cake that was all these leafy sea dragons hanging from the ceiling, and that was kind of my gift to her. And then I'm like a dude, And so we had a cake that was, the bottom tier was made out of meatballs. The second tier was made out of meatloaf. The third tier was made out of shawarma. And the top tier, there it is, a meat cake. And the top tier was made out of scrapple. And then the bride and groom on top are made out of hot dogs.
Yes.
And their clothes is sliced turkey.
That's pretty
That
fun.
is my dream cake.
And then we were iced and mashed potatoes. And then we had bacon roses on it. And then we had a
Food imposters.
Food imposters. It's exactly what it is. There you go. There you go. You watch it. And then we had a chocolate fountain full of gravy next to it.
Oh my God,
That's cool.
sounds delicious.
It was great.
Well, since we have you here in our studio, we didn't want to miss the opportunity for you to judge some of our baking and icing skills. So we're going to bring out a couple of cakes. The 4 of us are going to compete. They're going to put 60 seconds on the clock.
Oh.
And at the end of it, you will pick the winner. Does that sound good to you?
Okay.
Let's each take one of these before.
All right.
Oh, I don't get a
So
cake.
everybody grab. No, you have to judge.
I have to judge.
And maybe guide
You
us.
can totally do
All right,
mine.
so
going.
let's make sure that all these are ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, like
Starting?
get
No,
your.
I'm gonna give a countdown. Ready, guys?
So everybody's.
In
okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh man, this is Fast and Furious.
Oh.
This is good. Get a little more height. You know what I mean? There you go. There you go.
Height.
Yeah, you got it. You know what you do. You watch a lot of baking shows. Whoa, this is deliberate.
Oh man.
Oh man. Okay. There's
I feel like
sprinkles.
they do-
Don't
I feel like
forget
Martha
sprinkles.
Stewart does this. She goes. She does that. It's all in the wrist, guys. I think.
I think in 60 seconds, it's more just about how much can you get on.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Throwing caution to the wind.
Good. Using the whole plate. You know, you got a lot of negative space here. Go, right there you
I'm
go.
gonna have a story with mine.
Oh.
I've seen this show.
Is it a gender reveal?
You're,
I'm so
no! Oh my God.
I want another color.
What do you need? Okay, here you go.
Wow, Luke is...
Pink.
Oh, here's pink.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, hands up. Step away from the cakes.
Mine got destroyed.
Just a big old mouthful.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yum.
Just get it in there.
I'm a garbage person.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, well,
Mine's a
all right.
mess.
So mine's Harry Potter, if you couldn't notice. The lightning bolt.
You get story points.
Oh,
Wow.
Story
That's
points.
beautiful.
Wait a second.
and I love Harry Potter, so we'll just. Okay. What do you got there?
I tried to do a gender reveal, as you said. I tried to do some of that side piping.
Yeah, side piping. Is that what that's called?
Wow.
Side piping.
Side piping.
And yeah, I tried to give it some sort of.
That's good. That's very. I like that.
Wow, that side
It's a
piping
good
really
spot.
put it on
Yeah.
the side.
You have
side
some
piping.
technique.
Thank you.
Good side piping.
It's like intestine.
And I went for that like retro-esque graffiti. You said you liked graffiti, so I tried to like do a throwback for you. And my name starts with an S, and then there's stars around it because we're all stars.
Yes.
We are all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I find that the best art has a muse, and so I was inspired by my 8-year-old niece. These are her favorite colors, and she loves stars, and I felt like she would really love this, like, as a birthday cake.
This is really good.
So inspired by my niece, who I love
damn
very
it.
much.
You know,
Damn it.
like when they
I also
bring in,
have a
like, the
niece.
kids and the,
I have a niece.
yeah.
And shout out to
pregnant.
my niece.
This is my own.
I'm raising 3 children at home, and they love Harry Potter. I'm reading it to them.
I'm a
3
single
kids.
mom.
3
I'm
kids
a
at
single
home.
mom, yeah.
I'm a single mom. 3 kids at home.
I think we know.
Oh man.
What? No, no, it's so basic.
Excuse me, mine has a personality.
Okay,
It's a little messy, but so is Harry.
Here's the thing. I think that each of these cakes have a strength. This one it's very deliberate. It's very what is it? Intentional. I think is a good word for this one. The Harry Potter. I think we're on a pop culture show. That's a great pop culture reference. I think that's really good. And this one. I mean, I love Monty Python, and absurdist humor is my favorite thing, and I think that's absurd, so that's great.
Thank you.
That's great, and and this one I think like currying favor with the judge, I think is the smartest one. I can't pick a winner. I think
We're all winners.
I think we're all winners.
As a millennial show, that is perfect.
Yeah.
We're all
So
winners
happy.
on Bill Brunch.
He breaks it to like 7-year-olds on Food Network. He's like, you're going home. To us, he's like, each of you.
Again, that's Gen
He could see
Z.
that we were too vulnerable.
Yeah, those kids are a little tougher. I feel you guys
Fair.
want to
That's true.
create an incident.
Well, Duff, thank you so much for being
That's so much
here
fun.
and
Thanks for
joining
having me,
us.
guys. This is really great. Really great.
And you can catch the series premiere of Buddy versus Duff this Sunday, March 10th at 9/8 Central on the Food Network. That's all from us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same table.